Am I the asshole for telling my boyfriend I can't help him while I'm working from home? My 28F job is remote, so I am at home almost all day, every workday. I have some days that are super busy and I work some long hours. Other days aren't really busy at all. My boyfriend, 28M, works set hours in person, so he's out of the house every workday. His workload cycle is really light early in the day, so he has some downtime every day. Sometimes, like usually a few times a week and max like twice a day, he will ask me to do something for him around the house. Usually it's to clear off his 3D printer so he can start another print remotely, bring in a package, send him a picture of something, take meat out of the freezer, etc. They're super little things that don't take a lot of time and mostly I don't care and just do it. Not always immediately, but the next chance I get. Last week he asked me, "What's the chance of you going to insert store name that's 45 minutes away and I'm unlikely to be near?" It was my busiest day of the month. I worked 16 hours straight with only breaks to grab food and go to the bathroom. And he knew it was, so I responded, 17,000%, but didn't tell him that it bothered me even though it definitely did. Honestly, I didn't have time to have that conversation and he didn't ask me to do much else the rest of the week. Yesterday he asked me for 2 things. Today he also asked me for 2 things. When he asked me to take a picture of a package I had brought in for him a while earlier, which involved going down and up 2 flights of stairs. I asked if it was for something or if he just wanted to see it. He responded, "I just want to see it." I responded, "Sorry. If I go down there I will. I don't even make time to go change my own laundry during the day. I am working. I really don't mind if I'm not very busy and/or it's really helpful and important, but these requests feel disrespectful. It makes me wonder if he thinks I sit around and twiddle my thumbs, working from home, all day." I tried to talk to him about it when he got home and it got a little heated. I told him I feel disrespected and asked if he thinks I do nothing all day. He told me he knows I work hard and can be busy, but he doesn't ask that often and I shouldn't feel like I have to act on his requests if I don't have time. Am I the asshole? Update. Thanks for all who shared their insights. I talked to him more about it and I think we're at a place where we're better understanding each other on this topic. He said he didn't think I would take action if I was busy because there have been times where I've said, "I can't." He also claims that he wasn't expecting me to take the 1.5+ hour trip to that store last week, but they had something they rarely have in stock so it was worth a try, but still says he was mostly not serious. That one I still feel conflicted about. But I was able to explain to him that I try to accommodate his requests because I love him and am cool with helping out when it actually serves a purpose unless I truly cannot. Also, it's important that he only asks when there's a real reason to. It is true that of the perks I enjoy working from home is the flexibility of my schedule and that I don't have to work as strict a 9-5. However, I look at my own schedule and plan around my busier days. I am planning to set my phone on Do Not Disturb when I have a bigger workload or meeting-packed day so he can see that I'm trying to focus and I won't be as easily tempted to read and respond to his messages. Not the asshole. I get what he's saying about how you don't have to act on his requests if you don't have time, but what he's not realizing is that he's creating the expectation that you should just by asking to begin with. He needs to keep his requests to things that are quick to do and things that are actually important. There is absolutely no reason he should be bothering you to go down 2 flights of stairs to get a package just because. Not the asshole. Tell him you will no longer read his texts or answer his calls during your work hours. Op equals NTA. I saw your update, but even so, I think you should set yourself some official breaks and lunch into your day and let him only contact you at those times, or only read his messages at those times. You need to train both him and yourself not to respond to this pretty constant and often pointless interruptions. What a baby, my son visited me and worked from upstairs. I didn't see him until after 5. Nah. If you can't do it, simply say you can't. If he gets pissed, that's a different story. But don't fill in the blanks with his side of the conversation. If he didn't react when you said you couldn't do something, don't assume he's mad and thinking you're twiddling your thumbs all day. Am I the asshole, 16 female, for getting angry at my mum for getting pregnant? I have 5 brothers, all of them are younger than me. If I'm being honest, I don't even know all of my brothers' ages. We are also low income and it sucks. As in, we live in a 3-bedroom council flat with 8 people. I've never been on holiday, I've never been on a plane except for when I was literally 6 months and moving to the UK. We don't get to spend a lot of money on nice things. But you know what? I wouldn't complain if my mum didn't make us feel like a burden for the living situation she's brought us into. My mum takes it out on us when she gets stressed by money. As in, she shouts at us when we run out of electricity, saying all me and my brothers, do is waste money on games and food. Because of this I feel guilty buying clothes or asking for school lunch money, and it's made me resentful. My mum had an argument with my dad and it was pretty bad. My dad was gone for weeks. Me and my brothers would hear my mum crying on the phone to our auntie. This might be selfish, but that was literally the best time for us. My mum is usually strict, but back then, she didn't care what we did. We could buy whatever food we wanted, go out with friends, she never shouted at us. Plus my dad is a massive bum. He doesn't work or help out with money or spend time with us. Not that I want him to, I personally thought he was deadweight, so I didn't miss his presence. So when my mum told me that she was pregnant with a girl when my dad came back, I was less than happy. I was pissed and I shouted at her, why would you do that? How can we afford that? Where will we get the space? The flat is tiny. This upset my mum and she shouted at me, but she also explained later that having children is a blessing and that I should be happy I finally have a little sister. She said it's not my place to worry about money and that my dad does his bit, which I find it hard to believe. I just think it was irresponsible and reckless on her part. I'm also mad she's still with my pathetic excuse of a dad, but I haven't told her that. Am I wrong to be angry at my mum being pregnant? Is it bad I wished she wasn't? Edit. Thanks for the feedback. Moving out immediately is not my goal, I am not that ambitious lol. Being a caretaker for the baby is not a concern. I did used to look after my brothers in my early teens, but I am incredibly burned out and couldn't care less about most things, so my parents don't ask me to look after them as much when they're not home because I won't do it. Woman shrugging, medium dark skin tone. It would be stupid if they left a baby under my care. RN. Okay, now that I'm thinking about it, they still do ask me to look after them, but I don't look after them. Probably makes me a shit sister. I mean, I am one, which is why they shouldn't ask me to look after a baby, cause I'm not gonna do a good job. People asking why I'm not angry at my dad haven't read my post or comments. It's fine if it's too long to read. TLDR, mum and dad are having another child they can't afford. Mum takes her stress out on us because of money. Dad is a non-existent cunt who thinks he's still the man of the house even though he does jack shit and has not worked for the past 3 years. I am frustrated at my mum's actions, but I still care about her. I do really dislike, I might just say hate, my dad though. Not the asshole. Your family is struggling financially and you made a valid point. Does she expect you as the oldest to take care of your siblings often? Not the asshole. She is literally having more children than she has space or money for. And I can guarantee that the parents will guilt op into caring for her younger siblings. At first opportunity you get move out. It might be worth speaking to someone at school, college, and see how they can support you too, or another trusted adult. Not the asshole. A child born in these situations isn't a blessing, it's a burden. I'm sorry that you have to be the adult here. You're just a kid, you shouldn't worry about these things. Don't blame yourself, it's not your fault that they're ignorant. Not the asshole. Get her to put it in writing that it's not your place to worry about money, and then photocopy it 1,000 times and hand it to her every time she yells at you about money. Try to get out of these situations as soon as you can. Ask your school counselor for help applying to colleges, and applying for financial assistance. You have a good year and a half to prepare and excel. Get out of there. Your family is treating you both as a burden and as free childcare services, and it will not get better. Best of luck. You can do it. You are smart and resourceful. Am I the asshole for getting fully refunded and keeping an expensive item? I placed a bid on eBay and won an expensive used product. I paid about $1,000 Inkle. Shipping. When a new one costs about $1,600. The item was listed as being in pristine condition. When it arrived, I turned it on and discovered that while it functions well in offline mode, its Wi-Fi functionality doesn't work, and I was not able to pair it to my phone. I tried in any way possible and even spent 2 hours with customer service, but no luck. Customer service asked me if I'm the original owner, and they said that if I was they would be able to send me a replacement, but since I'm not, there's nothing that they can do for me. I contacted the seller and shared the information. The seller said that the item works perfectly and that they never used the Wi-Fi functionality and they don't understand what's the issue. After discussing it with my spouse, we decided we would like to return it anyway, because syncing it with the app is important to us. I contacted the seller again and asked for a refund, The seller said that it was listed as, "Seller does not accept returns." I pointed out that the item is defective and was listed as in pristine condition without mentioning the issue. The seller said that they will accept the return minus the shipping costs, that I paid for, but what they actually did was to offer a $400 discount. I declined the offer as we didn't want to keep the item. The seller said they'll contact eBay. I also contacted eBay and explained the above. eBay put a hold on the transaction, said that I'm protected under their buyer protection, and asked the seller how would they like to resolve it, refund me, pick it up, etc. The seller had 5 days to respond or I get a full refund and keep the item. 5 days passed and they didn't respond. eBay notified me that I will get a full refund and keep the item. 2 days after that I got a message from the seller saying that I scammed them and, "How can you sleep at night?" I don't feel that I scammed them, but it did turn out to be the worst possible outcome for the seller, where they lost the item and shipping costs due to an unforced error. Am I the asshole for keeping the item and my money? Edit. Paragraphs. Edit. Adding some more info. 1. The seller wasn't particularly kind of helpful when they thought they had the power. They said that they will accept a return minus shipping costs. But they didn't act on that. More so, even that solution seems unfair, as I would be paying shipping twice in that scenario for no fault of mine. 2. Even though the item was listed in pristine condition, it had stains on it. So I felt that even that wasn't accurate. 3. I'm not sure it's an innocent seller. It could be that the seller bought the item at discount and then after using it, tried to sell it at full price. There are 2 pieces of evidence to corroborate that. 1. The item is from 2021, and according to the seller they only used it for 6 months. And 2. The seller was quick to adjust the price to a lower price, basically asking me to keep the item for $600. 4. Seller didn't give a reason for why they didn't respond for 5 days. I also didn't ask. They just called me a scammer, which I think is unfair. Not the asshole. He sold you a faulty product he claimed was in pristine condition. You didn't scam him, he tried to scam you, and you're probably not his first victim. Sounds like the scammer scammed themselves out. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. You did everything correctly. The seller was the one who failed to respond in the 5 days they had. That's not your problem. Tell them that. Not the asshole. You tried to settle the matter with the seller and they didn't want to give you your money back as they should have. eBay gave the seller time to get their item back and the seller didn't respond. You got your money back and got to keep the item. It's the seller's fault. If they wanted the item back they should have responded when they should have. In AITA. They never used the Wi-Fi functionality. So even giving the seller the benefit of the doubt on their intentions, they were irresponsible to sell you an item in pristine condition if they hadn't checked out all the features work. It was their fuck up. You did the right thing by contacting eBay. If the seller had done their due diligence and documented testing the features, they could have proved it was working when they sold it to you and not their fault.